Well, and welcome, beloveds, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms, because it's the very first time that we have the opportunity to do that. It's like the first time in thousands of years that many of us, the true human beings, having that experience of coming back to ourselves, coming back to our powers, coming back online. We only use 8% of our brains, but that is not how we were designed. And people that look like you and me were the designers, but those are stories for other days. Now, very interesting story coming out of Algeria. I know you guys, rarely like stories from North Africa. You feel like there's some beef, but France, and this is so important for us to recognize who we're dealing with, and this shows you why it's so important for us to know our history, because Algeria, a couple of weeks ago, actually received the skulls of 24 resistance fighters who were decapitated during the colonial France conquest of the North African country. Now, France actually colonized Algeria for about 132 years. And in the fight for independence, 24 resistance fighters had their heads decapitated. And then the French colonial officers took the remains back to France as war trophies. And these are not the only war trophies. Across Africa, you can literally copy paste, remove the name of Algeria and add the name of Zimbabwe or add the name of Zambia. I think Zimbabwe is where they just gave back like 5 skulls of, major resistant leaders as well. So these are the kind of people that we're dealing with, and that now people are thinking, oh, let's forgive and forget, oh, they will always have our best interests. These are the people who are still controlling, I don't even want to call it French Africa, because it's not, but the African nations that they still controlled. And the only reason they still have this power is because we have not told our children the truth. So now the skulls were actually flown into Algiers. I'm talking about human skulls, beloveds. I think there's another story I did. We'll try and attach it to the end of this one, where I was talking about this. These are... Anyway, the skulls were flown into Algiers, which is the capital of Algeria, from France on a Hercules C-130 plane. As soon as they came into Algeria's airspace, they were met by fire jets. And, they were all in these coffins adorned with the Algerian flag. And then they were going to actually be kept for like a day to allow people to give, to pay their last respects before I think the remains will be buried or something like that. And they, one of the spokespersons said, the city is incredibly silent as the sirens of boats echo across the port of Algiers, which was, the citizens' way to pay tribute to the resistance fighters. The coffins, so they'll be taken to the Palace of Culture. I think they were already taken to the Palace of Culture in Algiers. And then they were put on display. And now on Algiers' 58th anniversary, which I think just happened last weekend or recently, the skulls were finally laid to rest in the martyrs section of the capital's El Alia cemetery, which is one of their biggest cemeteries. The French presidency, in a statement, said that, the remains was a gesture of returning the remains. Listen to this. Listen to the twistedness. We're dealing with sociopaths, beloveds. France said that the return of the remains was a gesture of friendship as part of efforts to reconcile the memories of the French and Algerian people. Don't forget that the Algerian president actually announced that he's waiting for France to apologize. But I guess instead of the apology, he got 24 skulls back. I mean, this is just crazy, man. This is just crazy. Like, this happened. People are not even in whatever African country. The fact that, here in Kenya, when this story was released, there was actually a commentary that was done in one of our local dailies where a local Kenyan scientist was like, he was hoping that our very own President Uhuru Kenyatta would actually continue the request, because our greatest freedom fighter, many think it's Jomo Kenyatta, nah, he came after. Our greatest, our hero, our PLO Lumumba, if you want to say that, was a man called Dedan Kimathi. And the British basically, took him out and then buried him. We're told he's buried in an unknown grave. We've been asking for the location. In fact, our former president, President Kibaki, he asked to know the location. We're still waiting to see if Uhuru Kenyatta will continue to push the British government to tell us, because we have to honor our heroes. Otherwise, we remain disempowered, because the spirit of the ancestors has to move with us for us to conquer what we're up against. And so, there was a lot of flowery language in Algeria. Some saying, the martyrs are returning home. Others saying, the body parts of those who fought the conquest of their country are returning home after a very long stay in cardboard boxes at the Musée de l'Homme in Paris. Cardboard boxes? And, Algeria actually started asking for the return of these skulls way back in 2018, as well as requesting the handover of all colonial archives. Now, the colonial archives have actually not been handed over, but Algerian and French academics have long campaigned for the return of the skulls. So this is a very, very big victory. Now, in December 2019, Macron said that the colonialism was a grave mistake and called for the turning of the page of the past. But what has actually triggered this has been, the anti-racism protests that have happened across the world. That's why you've seen governments doing these small gestures, hoping there'll be enough. So that, if you apologize to Algeria, will you have to apologize to the 16 other nations that you colonized and that you pillaged and stole from? The fact that most of your museums have our stuff in it? Anyway, let me know what you think about this story in the comments. Until next time, tuko pamoja.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello and welcome, fam, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr.MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I pray you're well in all your ways and that you are living your best life. Thanks to every single person that is subscribed to the channel. You guys are so amazing. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks to everyone that has joined our Patreon family. I've seen you. Thank you so much, Global Black Family. There's so much more I'm going to be doing on there. I'm still in the heart of Gambia, so a lot of the internet has been having a few issues, so we haven't been able to, kind of post as much as we've wanted, but we just wanted to make sure that at least we keep the news going because there's so much that's happening. And I keep telling you, we can't report on all the stories, but it's very clear that we start to identify a pattern so that we know what time it is and, where we need to be. So now, this story actually was just like, this tells us, when I say 90% of our African artifacts are abroad, I mean a lot of our instruments of power are abroad, but also a lot of the bodies and skulls of our freedom fighters and war heroes are also somewhere in the divided kingdom. Now, they've said that Britain is set to return 13 human heads of war heroes to Zimbabwe. Now, they say that 27, these were basically the pioneers of the Zimbabwe freedom fighting struggle and, the pioneers of the liberation war. And they say that there's a total of 27 heads in total. It even makes my stomach hurt. And, actually a Zimbabwean delegation has actually been dispatched to the divided kingdom to help repatriate the heads of Mbuya, Nehanda, Sekuru, Kaguvi. I guess if you're Zimbabwean, you'll know a lot of these names, and other war heroes, And what they're saying is that these skulls were sent to the divided kingdom as part of their trophies. And some of them are being held in Westminster Abbey, allegedly. I wonder why. Isn't that where they crown everyone? Isn't that where they have all these, secret Illuminati ceremonies? Isn't that where they have these weddings of certain, people? I think William and Kate were the last to get married there. But why? Why Westminster? Why would you keep skulls in a church or whatever the abbey is? In an abbey, in a place of God. Why would you keep skulls of, your enemies in there? What kind of sorcery and wizardry is being used against Africa? These are the things we have to ask ourselves. Why would they take our skulls? And these are the same people, some of you will marry, some of you will have their children. I'm not even being racist, but do you know what you're doing to your own psychology and psyche? It's not being racist, it's just being real.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake